About half of that, his party was in government.
Question 2, David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To this Prime Minister, what assurances, if any, has he directly received from the Honourable John Banks regarding donations he received for his political campaigns, and when did he receive those assurances?
Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, on Saturday my Chief of Staff spoke with the Honourable John Banks and sought an assurance from him that he'd fully complied with the requirements of the Local Electoral Act in respect of donations. Mr Banks gave his assurance during the phone call and stated that he was not aware that Mr .com had made the donation to his mayoral campaign.
David Shearer.
Supplementary. Why did he accept John Banks's word without personally speaking to him?
That's right. Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, because it's standard practice my Chief of Staff speaks to someone, they speak for me.
David Shearer.
A cup of tea, indeed. Does he stand by his statement?
Order. Sorry. I would like to hear the question if no one else does. Could we have a bit more order, please? David Shearer.
Speaker, does he stand by his statement, quote, "There is quite a wide definition of ethics. The test I have to apply is the law," end quote. And if so, is he intending to rewrite the Cabinet Manual?
Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
Speaker, in answer to the first part, yes.
David Shearer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does he stand by another of his statements, quote, "The issue has never been one of legality as much as ethics. The criminal code is the bare minimum standards for society. For MPs, we expect behaviour well beyond that." And if so, how is he applying that standard to John Banks?
Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
Yes, the test is whether the Minister correctly applied and did everything in accordance with the law. I've received assurance he did.
David Shearer.
Does the fact that grossly unethical behaviour took place in a mayoral election make the perpetrator acceptable as a minister in his government?
Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
I have no ministerial responsibility for that.
A point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister is the only person with ministerial responsibility for which ministers are in his government. For him to say he has no ministerial responsibility for John Banks being a minister is absolutely wrong, and he shouldn't mislead the Parliament.
In fact, that's not what the Prime Minister said. He had no responsibility for the matter that the Leader of the Opposition raised in relation to a mayoral election. And on that point, the point of order is not upheld. All right, Honourable Winston Peters.
Has the Prime Minister asked John Banks why there are serious discrepancies between Kim.com's version of events and Mr Banks' own version? If not, why not?
All right, Honourable Prime
Speaker,
Minister.
no, and if I could borrow the member's sign, it would be most appreciated.
Sorry, right, Honourable Winston Peters. Is this a supplementary or a point of order?
It's a point of order.
Point of order.
Mr Speaker, now, how does that answer the question when he's allowed to finish off that way? Because if we in any way infer such behaviour, particularly from that recluse from Merrill Lynch, who's got this disgraceful international record, then we are criticised by the Speaker. Now, we can't have it, we can have one rule for everybody in this House, which is what the whole issue is about when it comes to ethics and standards about which he claimed to be the paragon.
Well, the member lost ground when he, in the manner in which he raised his point of order. Order, I'm on my feet. Now, quite clearly, the Prime Minister has responsibility for confidence in his ministers. In relation to matters pertaining to a mayoral election, he has no responsibility. A point of order, Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I think both members have asked questions as to whether someone who has shown a low level of ethics in a mayoral election should be eligible to be a minister in that cabinet. That is the question. John Key has clearly says that he has, but he can be questioned on that.
Well, the member is asserting a certain level of ethics upon which the Speaker, it is not his role to judge on that matter. And if the member wants to ask questions of the Prime Minister in relation to confidence, that's how he should direct the questions, not make assertions about level of ethics. A point of order, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, there's a growing concern in this House from some of us with respect to such a ruling. He was not asked about ethics. He was asked, has he spoken to Mr. Banks about the serious discrepancies between his story and that of Kim.com? So why are you imputing into this debate anything other than that he was asked as a Prime Minister to answer this House? And simply, it is beyond reason that a Prime Minister would not have asked such a question in the first place.
Speaking to the point of order, the Honourable Tolley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Actually, accepting what the honourable member has just said, I heard the Prime Minister very clearly say no.
Order. Speaking further to the point of order.
That was not my point with respect. My point to you as Speaker was, why were you imputing ethics into the question when no such issue was raised in the question in the first place? I invite you to listen for change.
Now, with regard to the supplementary question, the Prime Minister was asked whether he could confirm something. His simple response was no, and in that respect, he answered the question. Supplementary, David Shearer.
To the Prime Minister, for how long is he prepared to allow John Banks to remain a minister while he is being investigated by the police for electoral fraud?
Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
For as long as he enjoys my confidence.
Speaker.
David Shearer.
Prime Minister, does he find it credible that one of his ministers can't remember a private helicopter ride to the largest mansion in Auckland? And is it acceptable that someone with such poor memory should be a minister in his government?
Right Honourable the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I have no ministerial responsibility for the first part.
And that is correct. We come now to question 3 in the name of David Bennett.
Mr. Speaker.